This week on RSBANDB Update, drop rates for the Gate of Elidinis are revealed, and the Hodman's shop is restocked. We also share Group Ironman plans and some live Day 1 theory crafting. From gathering to farming, we have our plans, but will they fly out the window? This is RSBANDB Update, episode 1009, recorded Thursday, October 24th, 2024. Once more with iron. Hello everybody, and welcome to another episode of RSBANDB Update, the dying days before Group Ironman arrives, the dying days of a season. Well, maybe not. Halloween's got a bit of a week and a bit left to go, but this week we're going to talk about Gate of Elidinis drop rates, some Hodmans, and of course our planning session for Group Ironman. So as such, the Group Ironman crew is here. Tanis, welcome.
Thank you, Shane. I'm super excited to talk about this Group Ironman. I've never played an Ironman account, so and this is going to be the first time we've really played a lot. Together. So this is going to be really cool.
Indeed. Also here is Pernasius, everybody's second favorite Australian.
Welcome all.
And Daxi is also here as part of the Group Ironman crew. Welcome.
Good to be back.
But, of course, in the meantime, I do want to just say big, huge thank you to our experienced tier Patreon members for whom without update would not be possible this week. That's Amos Reed, Andrew C., Bladecom, Drama Free, Jason S., Jesse W., Kesky, Lemon Lodge, Ricky A., Rippeth, Runestar, Tevis, The Naked Captain, Tim, and Truth Ray. Big, huge thank you to everybody out there, and you'll hear more about our Patreon offerings a bit later in the podcast. But, of course, in the meantime, if you want to follow along, you can find our full show notes over at update.show. We also have a Discord at update.show/Discord, and the Friends chat can be found in-game at BitsBytes. And I'm going to try and be a little bit more attentive and a little bit more focused this week because my foot is not killing me this week, thankfully. That has improved a bit. For folks who are unaware, and maybe you could read into some of my lapsed train of thought last week, I couldn't even walk last week. So yeah, that was a fun episode. But
normal people stub their toes. Shane stubs his entire foot.
Yeah. That's basically what happened. No, last year I was climbing outside with what hurt it. This year was a different foot.
Well,
He's
Shane,
the second one.
don't get old. Just advice, don't get old.
I'm trying. I'm trying to delay the aging process just so I get to 120. But anyways, speaking of 120, that's one of our first drop rates for Gate of Elidinis this week. The Runica Tuner, Memory Dowser, the Scripture of Elidinis, and the Eclipsed Soul Prayer Codex each have a 1 in 120 chance of getting to the drop table, which means following from that, there's a 25% chance of getting each drop, which equates to a 1 in 480 chance of getting any of the key drops from this boss.
Yeah.
If you're specifically targeting one.
I gotta ask the PVMers of the group, or not even the PVMers, but just let me ask you guys. Does this loot system make sense? In any way?
I don't like it, but it's what we got.
So
No, I know.
You've got a 1 in 120 chance to roll the rare item table, and then it rolls one of the 4 drops randomly. So, that's fine. My issue is that, even if you're doing fast kills, you're doing 3-minute kills with no reset time somehow, I don't know. You're getting 20 kills an hour. That's 6 hours to get any kind of a rare drop. Getting broadcasts from there is ridiculous. And these are upgrades that people kind of would like to have. Some of them, it's all right if they're rare-ish. They're not going to have huge value. But, they That's
The
too rare.
Scripture of Elidinis is good.
It's not satisfying.
It shouldn't be that
Yeah.
rare, I don't think. But
I think the drops don't come often enough to be satisfying, or often enough to be like something the average player could use regularly. Which, I mean, maybe over time it will be, but like if the XP was better and if it was something people did anyways, it wouldn't need to have super rare drops all the time. But like, it's not Crows. The XP isn't that level as far as I can tell, at least. First
Well, the
blush.
drops aren't that level either, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
and maybe if you were super low level or something, that would be different. But like, then you're getting there on a just like all the quests that are that lock behind it. Like, I just feel like you're. It doesn't. I'm not happy with it. That's all.
I mean, I don't mind the 1 in 120. I would like to see them drop in an order though. So if you've got one that crosses off, you get one of the next three.
Yeah.
When you got that, then you get one of the next two. I don't like that. I could end up with
24 hours for log. Minimum.
Exactly. I don't like that. It's I could get 4 memory dowsers and none of the others. If I'm chasing drop logs and things like that.
yeah, and
But, I mean, that's the way this
Or
game
an Iron
is,
Man.
so.
yeah,
Speaking of which.
and the perceived value of each of these is different too. Like I feel like the Eclipse Soul has probably the least value out of any of these, and then the Scripture and Dowser are at the top, followed, and then you have the Runic Attuner somewhere just after Eclipse Soul, I think.
do you think
Probably.
there's like an intentional, just not intentional, but you think there's this kind of bias when it comes to the skilling bosses, or like it's got to be more rare?
No,
Like
no,
that's
the stuff at
still-
Croesus was
If they
pretty
gave
common.
if they gave competitive experience rates for the thing, so people would want to do the bosses for very long periods of time, like if you were incentivized to use it as a training method for a couple hundred hours, yeah.
Oh, well,
fine.
that wouldn't be bad at all. Yeah, yeah.
But that's not the case.
That's
So
That's not what it
I
is.
think you're right. I think it is an unfair treatment of the skilling bosses. If they're just going to be normal bosses, they should have normal boss drop rates. Like I'm sitting out here with a one every hour or 1 every 2 hours drop rate at Osseous, and given his drops are worth nothing, and I can AFK them. But
Right, and that's the difference. You can't AFK the gate.
Yeah.
But at the same time, there's comparatively zero risk at the gate as well. So, I mean, whichever way you slice it.
Isn't there zero risk now?
Zero
I mean,
risk
pretty
everywhere, yeah, that's
much.
true.
I mean, come the freak
Well,
on.
yeah, for the bulk of PVM out there, I mean.
If you're a big swinging dick PVMer and you got big pockets and you're died to the max and you bitching about like
Mhm.
a 10-minute, no, it's basically free.
Like the loot streaking system is the only time where you risk losing significant gold by death.
Yes,
It's kind of
correct.
it.
Yeah.
But anyways, so that's the drop rates are interesting. They're fine. I'm not overly surprised. The drop table's reasonable. I wish the pet was also a little more common because
Yeah,
I think
1 in
ED is adorable.
1,500.
Which again,
Threshold of
Take you a while.
400. So that means at
Reason-
400 it becomes 1 in 750, and then at 800 it becomes about 1 in 500.
you
and so on
expect
and
to
so
have the
forth.
pet within 40 hours of doing it, but that's still 40 hours of doing it, 40, 50 hours. So
Which is insane.
Yeah, that's.
Yeah,
It's
for a
RuneScape.
pet
Grind to
though,
grind.
I don't mind that for a pet. In
Yep, I don't
my
either.
personal thing.
You know,
so.
I think the grind is inherent in RuneScape, and that's cool. That's part of it. I just wish there was a guarantee at the end of the grind. You know what I mean? I wish like you
if
could
things
say,
go
yeah,
terribly
but
wrong,
yeah, like you say, like, oh, but it was hard work, right? Like even if things were like shards or something, or pieces, like I don't care if it took forever to get a piece, right?
Yeah.
But every time you did it, you got something. You got a piece. You were working
Yeah.
towards it. You know what I mean? And it's
Mm,
that all or nothing that just, yeah, it's a great dopamine rush when you get something, but I mean,
that might be something to talk
sucks
about for a
when you
monthly
don't.
bit is how we might rework drop tables. We'll put it on the list.
I think we've probably
'Cause I
done
think
that.
there's something
but-
to be talked
Yeah.
through there.
Because that's the entire thing. It comes down to drop tables wherever this lands, and it's been just such a round and round and round and round discussion whenever these come up, and I feel like in the eyes of Jagex, probably there's no good solution on it, and that's why we just keep going with what we have. But Pet 1 in 1500, Threshold 400, Latent Memory 1 in 71.
What's the latent memory again?
That's the item that
turns the necklaces into the ones that destroy stuff for people with too much money.
Okay.
Yeah, you don't want that. And the lore
10%
book is
extra XP for no outcomes.
And the lore book is 1 in 10.
Yeah, with
Yeah,
a
lore book should be on
scaling
the
drop
first
rate that
kill.
increases to guaranteed at 15. I think they said. Which
That's
is
the
great.
one that
Well,
pisses
that's
me
good.
off because it should be any lore book should be, because it's on the Master Quest cape,
That's
should
true,
be
like one
guaranteed
drop.
on the first kill, or when
Well, they
you enter or
guarantee it on the
something
15th
like that.
kill. That's what they say. Is that it's
Almost.
guaranteed by the 15th kill.
Near
All right.
100% by 15th. Yeah.
That
So
means
for me, it'll be about
you're not
30
expecting
kills.
to spend more than an hour hunting for it. And for Master Quest, I think that's reasonable. That's fair to me.
Oh, on this,
There's a
on
lot
this boss,
worse.
yeah. But yeah,
I don't know if that's any consolation.
I mean,
but there's a lot worse.
my Master Quest cape's basically gone because I just cannot get an Akra. So
Inakra?
The
yeah,
Which one?
the final boss at the what's it called?
we should go do some duos. I need to
my
spend more time
Master
in there.
Quest.
Oh,
Yeah,
in
my
the
Master
Quest
Sanctum.
reserved.
The Sanctum.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, if you want to go,
We should
we'll
go do some
go.
duos.
Yeah, just let me know when. We can do it on normal, no problem.
I forgot that
Because
was
that's
actually a
also
duo.
something we could get in like an hour
Yeah,
or two.
I forgot that was actually a duo boss.
Yeah, you can bring a whole team in there. Up to 3, I think.
Up to 5, I think.
Oh, even
I
better.
forgot about that.
Yeah.
Ha!
Yeah. So yeah, we'll
Okay, that's
sort
not
that out
so
later.
bad.
But
Yeah.
because I wouldn't hurt my feelings to go get some extra drops and
You can
See
have
what the
every drop. I
content
just
is
want
like.
my bloody book so I can get my Master Quest cape back.
it
'cause
took me 12
I've-
kills to get the book. I was complaining. Don't worry, I'm right there with you, brother.
I destroyed my Master Quest cape because I was so pissed off. I just
No.
yep. I just
Oh,
destroyed
God.
it. I said, screw it, go away.
Yeah, we can.
We're
can
gonna
address that.
get that for you before Group Ironman starts up.
Yeah,
Then I
we
go
can
and
get
spend
Xbox.
another million
We'll
GP.
sort it out.
And just some other quick bits of data about the gate. 2103 is the highest number of current cleanses by a single player.
Of course.
1,667 people have got the pet. Shark Tag was the first player to collect Eddie the pet after 2 cleanses only.
Wow.
One of the Raid FC classics.
And
I wonder if he's a streamer. Streamer.
No, his name is a role at Yakamaru.
Oh, right, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
And the top 3 summons are the Pack-Yak, the Gargoyle, and the Lava Titan.
Makes sense.
And honorable mention to the Pack Mammoth, which players flocked to immediately after launch.
We thought it would be good, and then we realized it wasn't.
You didn't need that much. But so yeah, that's the drop rates there. I feel like that pretty much scratched the itch on that, and is kind of where it's been. I actually had the gate come up twice this week in Reaper assignments, believe it or not. So
nice.
So I did have a chance to go back for that.
It's acceptable Reaper points. It's not great, but it's acceptable.
Yeah,
we take those.
All right. Also, of course, Halloween, Grim Harvest. We talked about last week the Necromancy skilling outfit. Hodments are, of course, back as we have come to expect, and there are some new items in the Hodment store this year if you're interested in purchasing, which are the Pumpkin Souls and the Amaskit Chapel token for your player-owned fort. If you want to pick it up for the season there. So I picked up the pumpkins, the soul pumpkins.
They're so cute.
I really like the way they look. So I'm glad that was
will
there.
have those on all the time.
Yeah.
Yes.
And just seeing them, fly around you when you're using the souls, it just adds a nice little extra bit onto the season, which my current seasonal outfit is our pumpkin override head from last year and the Soul Witch outfit, which goes nice with necromancy. So just adding a few little pumpkins to that, I think helps the immersion around this time of year. So,
Excellent.
One of them was kind of expensive, though. I think one of them was around 20,000 or so oddments. So just keep that in mind for what you're.
The pumpkins, yeah, this pumpkins is 17.5K.
Yeah.
So
that's not.
I had 12.5 left over from last year. I just forgot to purchase things. They were left in my currency pouch. So
yeah, They're going to be adding more Hodman items on Friday
tomorrow.
We don't know what they're going to be yet, but apparently players wanted more Hodman items added. So if that is something,
I think they're putting the stuff from last year's store back on. Is what it looked like from the post in the Discord. So stuff we've seen before, but just making it available again. So sure,
I think that's a fair thing to do. No,
yeah.
But as the saying goes, if you have the Hodman, stock up on them. But they're also tradable on the exchange too, if you want to go that route instead. But
the Hodmans are?
No, not the Hodmans, but
the tokens.
The token for the pumpkins or the chapel.
Oh, I was like, what? Okay.
No, I think we'd be having a bigger treasure hunter conversation.
I was like, well,
if that was
all right. Well, okay.
Why? How many do you have? Are you?
He's a hoarder.
No, I'm a hooter. No.
Oh boy.
Speaking no, I would have been buying them. Shit.
Right. Yeah. Okay, but of course, what everybody came to the podcast for this week, you wanted to hear a little bit about how the Group Ironman is going to go come Monday. So I guess what we'll do is we'll just open this up with a bit of a brief discussion about maybe what we're looking forward to the most. Then we'll go into some general tips and tricks. And I'll start with you, Tanis, because you've never played an Iron Person before.
No. So I don't really have any of these tips or tricks. Yeah.
Okay, well, what do you like? So, do you in that regard? Then, what would you say you're most looking forward to?
Oh well, one thing I loved about Fresh Start, especially in the beginning, was because there was no economy.
Yeah.
You kind of had to make everything yourself, and and that was fun. I mean, that is fun until it's not, but but it was also cool, how live the game was, and like I said, in the intro, looking forward to playing with you guys. And this is going to breathe life into the game, for me. I wish we had the crazy 3% or 1.5%
XP multiplier.
Yeah, but and I'm really curious to see what this is going to feel like going through early game this time around. But
once more,
I don't know.
But this time with Iron Man.
Right, and I don't know, and I guess I'm looking forward to being like, I can be like a gatherer type person, and
you can lean into who you are as a person, and and the rest of it will get itself sorted out by everybody else, and that's okay. That's correct.
Yeah.
Right on. How about you, Pern?
Yeah, I've always been a solo type player, so it's having a group to do things with and work together with is something totally unique to me, and I'm looking forward to that part. Again, going through all that early game content, I love chasing that quest cape again. That's sort of my biggest goal, and getting to enjoy Slayer again from the beginning. I know not many people, like Slayer, but it was my favorite skill until.
Oh, hey, by the way,
and unique, right? Especially in the beginning.
Speaking of Slayer, not to hijack the discussion, but the first week in November, you get the Necromancy add-on for the Slayer helmet and the new Slayer creature. Obviously, not going to help us in week 2, probably in Group Ironman, but it's an interesting point nonetheless.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
But yeah,
Oh, sorry, Pern. Sorry, Pern.
No, and
back.
getting back into ports again too. I mean, just
Mm.
because I do primarily play with tank armor. It just makes the game easier for me. I don't care on speed kills, so just getting those level 90s and starting to chase all that again. Just a lot of that sort of earlier game content that you sort of missed out
Ports,
on.
the early game content.
Well, yeah, ports is endgame, but I mean.
No,
a
you're
lot of
not
that
wrong.
earlier game, getting into getting in. What I really loved on when we did Fresh Starts was going through Menopause and seeing just how useful that was
The
in
mid-level
the
hub.
mid-game. Yes, it really is useful for that thing. So I'll be spending a lot of time once I get to that mid-range in Menopause because on Fresh Starts, that was the place. So
we are going to do so much construction of the fort with Acadia logs.
Which I am looking forward to myself, probably needing not to hijack the supply of Acadia logs or anything in that regard.
Construction for his farming.
Yeah, but for me it comes down to actually wholeheartedly actually playing RS3 from the beginning again, because I did that a bit on a skill peer, but I always felt like I was operating with one hand tied behind the back, peeking around all the various corners. Can I do this quest without ruining the skill peer? Can I actually go for this sort of content, or am I going to be tying the other hand around my back too, because I'm not going to be able to on the skill peer have any augmented pickaxes or mattocks or anything like that beyond Dragon because of Prif not being a thing for skill peers. So just getting to experience that RS3 arc again from the beginning to the mid levels, and seeing some of the quests in particular, given the fact that we've gone through them recently on Old School as well. So yes, we do index heavily here to questing. But how about yourself, Thackley?
I mean, a lot of the same. I love the theory crafting and the routing and trying to think of all the things. I'm sure I've got this big fancy plan, and somebody could be like, "Yeah, you're missing these 8 lamps. It could do all of that for you in 2 seconds." But I enjoy that, and I also have not really played an Ironman. I had one. I think I got to 300 total or something. And I'm like, but what if it was just a main account instead? And my alt was a main account. I've done the Fresh Start. I'm excited to try the Iron Man and see what those sometimes are, because that was one of the things I realized when I was researching is there's very little information on the wiki about what this does for Iron Man, or what each of the because there's so many pages that I know Iron Man cannot use X or cannot use Y, or they don't receive this reward, or they don't you can't talk to this person and have your account checked for a lamp, or whatever. I know there's a bunch of stuff like that. And I have no idea what any of it is. So I'm sure there's going to be hiccups in all of the plans and all of the the stuff that's I just haven't thought about. I'm excited to figure out what that's going to be on Iron Man, because I wouldn't normally play Iron Man on my own. I just the challenge isn't fun to me. But I think with friends and with being able to say, hey, I just don't want to do a lot of farming. I don't want to farm all of my own herbs. Hey, Shane, what are you doing later? That side of things is really exciting to me.
Oh yeah, I've already been looking up and listing out where we're gonna get all the herb seeds and whatnot from too, because I know that's gonna be something that we're gonna want.
And then it just
even as early. Go for it.
I was just gonna say, it just dawned on me I'm over here oh yeah, I'll be the armor. I'm gonna get everyone, and now I'm like, no, actually, dude, you'll be a blacksmith making tools because there's necromancy now.
But just wait. We're getting 110
on that one.
We're getting 110 woodcutting and fletching either late November, early December.
Yeah.
So you could be making bows and items too, potentially.
We can get tier 90 swords already from the primal stuff, and these eternal magic trees are going to be giving us bows as well. Which is actually a question I want to talk about at some point. Maybe this is a good time. It's what I don't even know what late game magic weapons are available to us. Is there something I'm missing? I feel like Magic doesn't have something that's it's a relatively straightforward drop to get for high level magic weapons of any kind.
I feel like it's
you can get ports and also there's I think it's a T75 or T80 staff that you can get through RuneSpan.
You've got like attuned crystal, which is tier 80 at the very least, and you've got a bunch of abyssal wand and orb at tier 75. But like, yeah, ports might like that's kind of crazy to me because I don't know about you guys. I don't feel like we're gonna get to Virago. I feel like that's just
no. We're gonna skip Virago, and it's either gonna be hard Hellware or Sanctum, basically.
Yeah.
Hellware. Yeah, okay. All right.
Well, that's why on my original Iron Man, the first thing I did, I worked to get ports unlocked as soon as possible, so I could just slowly do that and get things built up there until I got it.
What do you think is the fastest port skill for an Iron Man? What do you think is the fastest one you can get to 90?
Hunter would probably be the easiest one now with Oasis.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I didn't realize it was that fast. I was
Oasis
thinking like
is very fast.
Maybe construction is fast. You just have to build the resources ahead of time, or like.
Well, that's it. You've got to with a lot of the others. Thieving's pretty quick as well.
Okay. None of these are on my list. I was thinking like fishing or cooking or like farming, maybe.
Fishing's slow. Cooking's fast, but again, you've got to gather the resources. Farming is fast.
Because we're going to have to get 80 div anyways for inventions. Yeah. Like maybe it's right there. I don't know.
But I look at the ones where you don't need, I've got to go and do this before I can do this. Where Hunter with Oasis at the moment, you go straight there, you just get it up and away you go.
Yeah, okay, fair enough.
See, someone that's been Iron Man before, we're all like, yeah. What about, you can't just do it. But we don't know that yet.
If you want to make them into planks, you dingbats.
So what are the tips and tricks that you're imagining, Paxi, that you compiled? Because you did compile this nice section here for us.
I started just stuff that I'd been like theory crafting on. First off, it's a character creation stuff. I know you guys said you wanted to wait because you didn't want to like all that. That's fair enough. It's super easy to add a character to your Jagex account. You just you log on to the Jagex, like the main website, you log into the Jagex account page, and you just like, there's a button. You just click a button and it spawns a character with no name that you can just load into. So I have in my launcher right now, I have, what is this called? The no name character or something. It's like 3 words. Let's see. No name set. And that character, you can go in and on the character creation page where it allows you to select like your mode, you can make your character and it saves whatever you put in. So I've made like my typical character or as close as I can get with what they have in the character creator, because I need to go to Thessalia once I get in there and like fix the outfit basically. But as close as I can get, like be on Iron Man Island and catch up with you at least. Be visible, recognizable, whatever. And it saved it. So like I've logged out and logged into that on different computers and stuff, and the character is still there and still on that screen, and it doesn't let me set a name, so you have to actually like finalize your character and select your mode before it lets you select a name. That is, I think, different than it used to be, but I have no idea when it was changed. You could do that, and if you were feeling spicy, you could get membership. I'm going to hold off on that one until I'm at least like, able to, like, until Group Ironman is live, until I make sure that I can actually select it. But you could, in theory, like, have your character made. I'm worried that on release day, the account creation servers are going to get a little whelmed, especially right at release. So I did that in advance, just as an option to put in there. And then otherwise, just like general things that they've said that are even potentially different from regular Ironman is that we have all of the accuracies from like minute 1, or all of the auras from minute 1.
That's going to be huge.
Stuff like, yeah, and like some of those I think are a little understated in terms of their actual value to a level 1 character. Is the like things like the accuracy auras. The way the game currently calculates damage is like it calculates off of your accuracy, right? And the way that they hit a 0 is that if you have less than 10% accuracy, you cannot hit the target. The highest tier of accuracy auras, which would not normally be available to a level 3, gives you 10% accuracy. So you could technically damage and kill anything in the game with level 3 stats. It's the only way you could do it. On a character with level 3 stats in in RuneScape is those accuracy auras. And that's just one of those, like, you run into a boss that's too hard, or you need something like that's straight up just an actual damage boost in a way that they didn't used to be.
What are we thinking as well about the Jack of Trades aura?
I don't know if that's available to Ironman. Can Ironman use that? That's one of the things we couldn't find.
I would be... I mean, they may not have even thought about it. I'd be shocked if it's in there. If it is, I think it'll be because they haven't thought about it.
Well, I'm sure it's been thought about before, because either Ironman can use it or they can't right now.
Where do you even...
And I just don't know the answer to it. But there's that as a like, somebody out there is yelling the answer at their podcasts right now, and we'll find out later. But also we have all of the, like, the auras, like the Harmony aura and those that give you cosmetic wings overrides for free. I'm assuming it'll still give us those cosmetic overrides, so we'll all have access to wings for minute 1 if you care about that for your fashionscape. And more gameplay oriented is the sure-footed aura, which prevents you from failing agility obstacles, and I think gives you infinite run energy.
That's huge when you think about
agility.
Yeah, so, like, low-level agility is, you're supposed to gain extra... It's only 20 minutes, so to be clear, this aura is 20 minutes long and can be activated once every 2 hours. It is not an all-the-time thing, it's a short burst of like, stuff. I'm going to try to find it really quick, because...
Yeah, players' run energy is kept at 100%.
Yes. So, like, for the opening stuff where if you're, like, running to collect all the lodestones or something, or you need to get like, your first time getting over to Artie, you're running past stuff in White Wolf, like, aura is going to be really good for that. And then slightly later on, there's a lot of agility courses that were made accessible at a much earlier level than they should be, with the idea that you have, like, a 10% chance to complete the course. And so, like, the Apatoll agility course, if you get through Monkey Madness... The Apatoll agility course is available at level 49 agility, but it gives XP that's appropriate for about level 72. Like, it gives, like, and again, that's 8 times as much XP. Like, it is,
and, you know,
it gives XP that is not appropriate for the level, and you can get a lot of levels very fast by just doing 20-minute time gaps where you just use a fairy ring to port onto that agility course, do 20 minutes, and then use the fairy ring to port back.
I never thought about this until yesterday, that we actually need to figure out agility without Silverhawks.
I mean, congratulations, Shane. Welcome to running laps again. Old school is calling for you.
Yeah, that's fine.
Things have not changed.
That's fine. I'm going to be talking about run energy this week on the Old School show anyways, so have at it.
Yeah. So that's the notes for, like, auras, right?
I just looked up. Yes, Jack of Trades is available on standard Ironman, so maybe it will be available on this.
So that is, I think that's likely going to be an important part of training certain skills we really don't want to train.
Dungeoneering.
Which we will get to. Otherwise, just time-gated things that we're going to talk about some of the stuff in our mid-range group goals later, but, like, Group Ironman comes out on a Monday. There are several outfits that are tied to weekly progression. So, like, familiarization guarantees a piece of the summoning outfit every time you complete it and take the components box. So
anybody who wants summoning should do that before reset on Tuesday evening, North American time.
If you're in, even if you don't think you have a use and you know you're going to get, 20 spirit wolf bones or whatever from that component box, it might still be worth doing familiarization and just, like, going and collecting one shard and, like, leaving, because I think it's just still a guaranteed outfit piece. Caches give the divination outfit.
Really? Wow.
It's interesting. It's kind of fun. We'll talk to it when we get there. But and then stuff that we've already talked about, right? So, like, eventually getting into ports is something you probably want to, like, prioritize starting early. At least somebody in the group probably.
Yeah. The bigger one, though, I think, is the Anachronia base camp, and I'm glad you put this on the list.
Yes. The materials to create
because
farming pens.
I didn't start this until about 4 or 5 days into Fresh Start, and I was feeling the pain on that.
Yeah, and even, like, long term down the road, for those of us doing a lot of quests, that gives us stuff to use at those stations for for XP once we finish Extinction. So That's just, getting the Anachronia port base camp rolling. And then the other thing I think is maybe needs to be mentioned is the Shattered Worlds weekly challenges, which is not going to be a week 1 thing we're able to do, just level-wise. But the Shattered Worlds is the in-game system for Ironman to get Slayer masks. So for things like the Strikeworm Slayer masks, it's the only way to kill them. Like guarantee, like if I want to grind out getting a Staff of Light or like people's Slayer Helm components, you have to like either get those tasks naturally over time and then get lucky on the drops, or you have to get the helmet for them. Or even like missiles.
Not
right?
anymore. They changed that where you can just kill them off task now.
Oh, amazing. Okay, so maybe less important, but that is like those Slayer masks, if you really want to have Abyssal Demon tasks, for example, for like easy AFK XP or something, then it would be worth getting those points, and that's going to take at least a little while. Also Bladed Dive and those kind of things. Because it may be a while before we have the weapons to push higher world numbers to be able to have the unlocks for those.
Yeah. Another thing on that dive front, I don't necessarily, know offhand where it goes, but that, brings up succession if we're talking about dive and whatnot.
Yeah.
So.
Well, it's worth noting that they did change so that, like, some of the things... what's a good example of this? Surge. Like, Surge and Escape are unlocked, instead of being unlocked at a magic and range level, they're now unlocked at level 5 agility.
Which makes sense. That's good to have.
We're spawning in Birth Orb, where there's an agility course. So before I leave Birth Orb, I'm getting level 5 agility. Because I know not everybody is a spaz like this, but I absolutely need Surge to move around the world. It will be pain enough to not have the double. Otherwise, a couple of just like odds and ends things. Daemonheim is old. Just as a reminder. But if you want to get dungeoneering experience, your options outside of Daemonheim are like sinkholes. If Ironman can get XP from them, which I'm assuming they can, or like maybe Shifting Tombs, but it's going to be kind of questionable XP. Like, if you want to do Daemonheim for your dungeoneering experience, or if you need dungeoneering tokens for like unlocking scrolls for efficiency or those kind of things.
Bone Crusher.
Daemonheim, all of the monsters inside of it will scale with your combat level. The problem is you can't use Necromancy in there. So if you are leveling primarily your combat through Necromancy, Daemonheim is going to suck.
Good to know.
Like royally suck.
Good to
you
know.
Will not be
okay.
able to, that's another one of those scenarios where you could genuinely not have the accuracy to kill a target. If you went up to like 90 defense and Necromancy and kept your other combat skills in the like 30s or 40s just from like quests or whatever, you genuinely could have below 10% accuracy on some of the high level monsters in Daemonheim.
Okay, so we'll keep a well-rounded approach then on that, because I've been thinking about that just Necromancy opens up so many things, but then when you get to dungeoneering you can't because there's no Necromancy in dungeoneering. Forgot about that point.
Couldn't you do dungeoneering through Elite Dungeons?
You could,
again, but that's lots.
The XP rates are not ideal,
and the levels you need to start grinding those tokens is pretty high combat wise. So
right?
Like, I mean, it's reasonable that we could do ED3 runs for tokens and stuff. We probably will at some point. But
quick question for you: with dungeoneering, I think where the option where you just do the 3 rather than the 6, where you just do the sort of the gathering stuff for fishing and cooking, and that, is that still a viable training method, or are there better ways now?
Yes, it is. I did that for Fresh Start and my alt. And spoilers, that's a lot of my plans are. I'm going to live in dungeoneering for a little while.
That was my plan too, just to get those type of things up to a reasonable level.
Also, completely worth noting, and I don't know if I'm going to actually prioritize this whatsoever, but the Tuska event scales the damage in there scales off of your hit points. So, like, you can go to the Tuska event with really crappy food, like the chickens and shrimp that you don't want to use for other stuff, and get credit for those events to start unlocking things like Devotion, and Sacrifice and Tuska's Wrath.
Yeah, Tuska's Wrath's not real. I mean, it's good for
Slayer,
which
but we will be doing.
I forgot about the other two, Devotion and Sacrifice.
And they're available from God Wars 1 bosses as well, if that was the route. But if you don't want to go that route, and again, it's totally fine to go later. You just need more food, basically, for the stuff that damages you, if that's a concern. You just need to pay a little more attention to your health if you're high level. That minigame is significantly easier at a lower level. Does it really matter? Probably not, but
no, it's an interesting point to mention.
Yep.
I want to get into our day one plans, but before we do that, just a quick reminder that we are on Patreon at patreon.com/RSBANB. And this week, I'd like to thank Alvaro L., Amos Reed, Andrew C., Arvids L., Bladecom, Brayden K., Chilbura, Dominic R., Drama Free, Duramax, Guy Lafleur, Hair A., Iscontu, Jade Gizmo, Jason S., Jesse W., Keski, Lemon Lodge, Luminos, Mongrath, Ricky A., Parnassius, Rippeth, Robbie D., Runestar, Samuel FL, Scott DS, Shirt Pants, Targayin, Tevis, The Naked Captain, The Dabbing Goat, Tim, Truth Ray, Ukulele Steve, Woody, Zant, and Zazakon. Big, huge thank you out there to everybody. You can learn more about our Patreon offerings over at patreon.com/RSBANB. This week we had the vote for the next monthly bid, and we're going to be doing a deep dive into skilling offhands and answering the question, should skilling offhands be something that augments existing training methods, or should they create entirely new training methods? Yes, we're talking about what the Runica Tuner did compared to other skilling offhands. We're going to have a deep dive into that. Thank you to everybody who voted on that. If you want to listen to that when it arrives, you can sign up at patreon.com/RSBNB for as little as $1 a month. And in doing so, you get an access to a back catalog of 75 extra or more at this point, 75 plus additional bonus episodes of the podcast that talk about these little bits and bobs each and every month. We also have our VIP rank at $3 a month, where you receive a VIP rank on Discord, chat channel access, and a mention on the podcast at the start of the month, as well as high-quality stereo versions of the show. And for $5 a month, you'll receive a shout-out on the podcast each and every week and gain exclusive access to the outtakes that we use to make the clip show at the end of the year. And that tier also gets the RSBNB Update Christmas card every December. But patreon.com/RSBNB. Thanks so much, everybody. It means the world to us.
Thanks.
Thank you all. And also a special thank you to everyone who voted for my one as well, the skilling offhands.
Yeah, we had the God alignment chart up there again, and that one just seems destined to lose. That's Zerdone's poor
interesting
God alignment tier list. So I wanted a chance with the God alignment one to go out there at some point if the Patreon members voted for that, was to talk about why I like Saren more after the events of Extinction.
See, I hate her even more. I've never liked her and always thought she was a genocidal bitch, and even more so now.
Come at me. So am I.
Well, fun fact, they were contemplating naming Extinction Genocide. As the quest, I think that's the story. I think they were contemplating naming it that.
She's a total psychopath.
Same.
Herself. Yeah.
All right, let's go through some of our day one plans. I'll start unless anybody else is chomping at the bit to.
Nope.
Go for it.
Well, as has mentioned, I have been relegated, and I happily accept this mantle of being the group farmer. So,
relegated himself.
Yeah, so my day one plans, at least at the very beginning, after now that you mentioned the agility course and getting 5 agility, include setting up things like Anachronia that we previously talked about, and I figure I'll also just spare everyone and just do Cook's Assistant when I get to Lumbridge for the hell of it, because I think there's a group achievement on that. I also have ideas of unlocking the player-owned farm on day one, which in turn kicks me over to the new Foundations quest, which based on the leveling and the XP that one gives, I think actually you said that's enough for 40 farming off the bat, isn't it? Or 40 construction, rather.
Well, because you have to build all the walls and stuff,
Yeah.
so you have to still collect all the planks and everything, but the wiki said, 40 from at the end of the roads, so
yeah,
that'll be enough for your medium pens.
Yeah, so there's that. I also want to, go into necromancy, but I think after our discussions here, it's also just very well warranted to be well-rounded combat-wise and not necessarily neglect one or the other in that regard, especially when it comes to handling all the dungeoneering bits and bobs. But that's pretty much going to be my first day. Cook's assistant, the fort, necromancy, unlocking the player-owned farm, and anything that I really get distracted with along the way for that too. I think honestly, just that's also going to be a part of it too for me.
Adventure.
No, but after that, I think it's going to be more pivoting towards just, okay, what do we need? Is there like a gathering skill or something to that effect that's not being handled? Because one thing we also learned in the past week is that we're actually going to be able to store damaged artifacts in the group storage. I don't necessarily know if we're going to use that or if that's going to be a core aspect of archaeology training for us, but we can put damaged artifacts in group storage.
Well, that's cool. Now, is the only bank space we have the group storage?
No, you have your regular bank too.
Oh, whew.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Everything
I would have been spending the money and just buying I would have been spending the money and buying every bank space available.
No, you have your own
free,
bank.
right? Still, we get them from collect all your free stuff from Solomon's store, although free bank booster.
Yeah, whatever you have available for that. And that brings up an interesting point too, is that anything that is tradable between regular mains will be tradable between our group members, and the things that fall outside of that is what group storage is for. And I mean, we're not going to yell at each other or anything to that regards when it comes to group storage, right? Like if there's something important growing into group storage, I've set up a Discord channel for us where we can make note of what's there and what it's for.
God damn it, Shane!
Not to fully derail us, but I wanted to have a conversation on that about the ways that it could be used and the etiquette around it, because that's the good question of what do you like?
Well,
if you put stuff in there, is it
yeah.
Okay.
I was gonna say let's do that after the day one stuff, because I think that makes sense before we get into the short to midterm goals. So yeah. I'll punt this off to Pernasius next. What does your day one look like?
Yeah, well, basically after making the account, just getting in there, I'll get do my agility up to about 20, so I have a little bit of run energy. Then just start straight in onto the early quests I can do: Blood Pact, Cook's Assistant, all those type of things. Again, I've always been level up everything sort of together. So when I'm AFKing, I'll basically, the problem is at low levels it's going to trolls. Everyone's going to be at trolls. Trying to
Go to
level
trolls.
up.
It's safer.
Yeah, so just working out where the best way just to level up and just unlocking everything, and then probably spend a lot of time at Hunter just to get that'll probably be my first level 90.
Why are you thinking of that? Ports?
For ports, just to unlock ports. Then I won't touch Hunter again. And
Ever.
Just work everything else.
Well, somebody's going to have to for Dragon Maddox eventually.
Yep.
Future us problem.
Yeah.
And then Slayer. So I mean, Slayer is going to be my big one.
Do you like clues?
I love clues.
Oh, I was worried that we did. I was worried that we didn't have a clue person here.
All of the clues.
I am going for clue log. I've done over.
Oh, finally, someone can do clues.
Over 2,000 or 3,000 of each. I'm approaching 5,000 elites
You bad lad.
Yeah, I've done almost hit 1,000 masters.
Are you going to be using the Alt 1 Clue Helper?
No, I don't cheat.
Is anybody going to be using the Alt 1 Quest Helper?
No, I don't cheat.
Alt 1
That's what the wiki's for. If you need help, you go to the wiki.
Good.
The Clue Helper.
Although, actually, no, sorry, I
wild,
lie.
one, but...
I lie. I will use Wiki for, I think it's the Light Within. I did that the first time by myself, which took nearly 12 hours. Yeah, no, absolutely not.
Hey, if you want to see a real...
I did all those blind, but yeah.
If you want to see a light puzzle that's evolved, go do Song of the Elves on Old School.
Yeah, I want to do that.
All right.
It's got layers.
How about you, Tannis?
Well, hopefully I can do this, but normally I focus on getting around first, so I'll unlock lodestones. And then once I have, I can get around pretty decent, I'll probably go straight into div, and try to get that up as quick as possible, to get porters as quick as possible. So I can, because that's going to help when I start moving into mining, smithing, and cooking, and fishing. So
nice. You want to be the gatherer.
Yeah.
Don't forget your boxes too. Make your boxes straight away for mining.
Oh,
and
your
such.
metal box, your box.
Yeah.
How do clues work in the shared storage? Like, do they count against our personal totals? Like, could we just have a stack of 1,000 hard clues in the material store and just keep putting them in there and still keep getting them as drops?
I think so.
Smile.
Hell yeah.
That's gonna be
there's
wild.
sort of there's a soft cap on them, so
but like, does it count
things?
Does that cap count group storage though? Like, does the group storage evade that soft cap? Because it's not on your account.
That's in yeah.
Like, I have several thousand clues in my bank, but that's because the soft cap is a soft cap.
Yes.
And I don't like clues. Like, okay. Anyway, sorry, Dennis. Yes.
Yep.
Gathering boxes, things.
Okay, so gathering. Does gathering include archaeology?
Oh.
It will. Like, I want to do some of that at the same time. I want to get the skills that I will need or could be useful for the group up, and then do archaeology. Is like,
we're going to need a lot of higher tier archaeology materials because they're the easiest way to get both like gizmos into components, just deconning materials, and also to get simple parts for making divine charges.
I guess, like, yeah.
I mean, have a use for log. We don't have a use for extra archaeology mats.
Like, to be clear, it's whatever we want to do. Archaeology is a wonderful skill, so I mean, we can all go down that. If we will eventually. If we want to.
I know.
It was like it was my indulgence.
Sorry. When you said about the simple parts, don't forget miscellanea, because you get a lot of logs there, which you can.
Yeah, we need to use those logs to make frames for 4 and 3 to get construction up.
Yeah, but once you get a certain amount, I mean, your maples aren't going to be that useful. Yeah.
And there's also that Menopause angle that you mentioned too, with all that Acadia you'll be woodcutting.
Yes.
Yeah. So exciting.
And back to your day one, I'd ask for a picture of your mad scientist thing that you were working on if you haven't.
It's longer than our show notes. I've been working on it on and off for a while, and again, I'm sure I'm forgetting things, and it's not fully efficient. This is me trying. Like, I loved early game dungeoneering, but it's a matter of like how fast can you get there without losing efficiency in dungeoneering. It's so many skills to train. Like, genuinely, that's my early game plan. Is all like get to dungeoneering as fast as possible to drive my total level through the roof. By just 100%ing solo medium floors is like kind of the idea, right? Because like once you're set up, dungeoneering is a good balanced way to get experience in combat, all the combat skills: smithing, mining, woodcutting, fletching, fishing, cooking, crafting, and fire making, plus reasonable chip XP in farming, runecrafting, hunter, thieving, divination, and if you want it, herblore, which just takes longer. Like, it's a lot of levels and a lot of skills very quickly that doesn't require you to, like Perm was talking about earlier, like, go through all the steps of, like, finding all the materials because you're doing it within the floor.
Yeah.
So, like, my plan as it starts out is, like, the first thing I know myself, I've pre-taken screenshots of my interface, my action bars, and a lot of my settings, because I'm going to spend an hour on Iron Man Island while we're, like, getting through. I'm going to spend probably a full hour fixing my game, because it's not going to be... I remember Fresh Start. I remember the alt. I know who I am. It's going to drive me up the wall if I don't fix it immediately. Part of that is going to be disabling all defense experience because, again, total level is going to matter for that dungeoneering. I'm going to be able to be a lot faster, more efficient if I keep my combat level lower than what my stats are. So it's training like magic and ranged evenly, and not getting any defense experience, or training all my combat stats evenly, but not getting any defense experience to keep my combat level low, but my combat ability relatively high. Trying to avoid too much early summoning. I'll bury bones for prayer, but I'm not going to like hunt it early. So disabling defense experience off the bat, just for like my early grind. I'll turn it back on once I'm like getting into the higher level stats elsewhere and it's getting annoying. Because you take a lot more damage when you don't have defense. Like it's one thing in old school where like it's all right. In RSC, you're gonna die. You die if you don't have defense levels. There's a reason this game isn't filled with more defense periods than it is.
Yay!
Yay! So once
Quick
the like
question. Sorry,
we're done with all the toggles. No, go for it. You're fine. What's the? Yeah.
No, I was just going to say when you were saying about all that, daily challenges, are they available on Iron Man?
Yes, but when you get dropped in Birthorpe, you have the Birthorpe task system, which is a set of, I think it's either 12 or 20 tasks. Once you've completed, and they're like cut one log, and they'll auto refresh in the challenges interface. You have to get through all of them and then relog before you can get your first set of daily challenges. It's about an hour worth of work, but it goes you through most of the early game skills. So that's a very reasonable thing to do off the start. It's not very much experience, because the experience is like what, a third of a small or two small lamps or whatever it is. Like it, but it's at level 1. That's not going to get you up, but it's something.
It's what they use for the onboarding in the Birthorpe area, and honestly, it works quite well.
It's probably the most efficient like use of time is going through all of those tasks, because they reward you with coins and experience and all these things as you complete each task too. So there is a valid reason to do that as part of your early game before going to like Lumbridge or wherever.
Yep.
Yeah, as an option.
So
but
go to bed at 4 o'clock in the afternoon.
We'll see where we go. But once I finish with like my interface stuff, the plan is level 5 agility immediately at Birthorpe, because I need Surge because of who I am as a person. And then collecting the lodestones at Falador and Edgeville before going down to the Stronghold of Security, because I have plans for that 10k. And praying to God I just don't get one shot as I'm running through to the chests. If I have food, that's great. If not, we'll deal. From there, Thessalia to fix my outfit. And then down to Het's Oasis and getting the Alcarid lodestone to get level 10 Hunter for the next level of like Hunter traps when I get into Demonheim. And then buying 500 feathers, 600 feathers from the Lumbridge store. Doing blood packs for weapons, Cook's Assistant for the Journey achievements, because I think we all need to do Cook's Assistant to unlock something, or group storage upgrade or whatever.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. And then fletching to level 8 to be able to make a staff and short bow within Demonheim. Again, I'll get them handed to me in the first few floors as I unlock higher complexity. But having the option in case I don't get what I'm looking for, just the level 8 fletching is the goal, which is 600 headless arrows. Just done. Easy enough. From there, the Lumbridge Divination Crater to get level 10 Divination. And since I'm in the area, Runespan for like 15 minutes. It should get me 14 or 20. Just a little bit of extra XP from Runecrafting. Runecrafting in Demonheim got nerfed to the ground a while back. But might as well get a little extra XP from it. Then to the Void Knights Island, which I'm pretty sure I can get to on a level 3.
What do you need to go there for?
Because east of the bank, there is an echo for the Memorial of Gothics. From there, we go to Falador. We buy 189 woad leaves so that when I eventually get 17 farming, I'm ready to just load up the honey, the bee houses, and then never worry about farming again because I'm not Shane and I don't like the skill. After you buy the woad leaves from Wyson, which should use the last of your gold, you should have like 200. I should have like 200 gold left at that point. Whoops. 400 flickering energy and 100 strands from the crater north, from the flickering energy crater north of Falador, and then use those memory strands to teleport to the Memorial of Gothic because I don't want to run across White Wolf Mountain because I think I'll die. Using the energy and those 100 strands should be able to charge that first echo and turn that on to activate the 4 times XP multiplier in Dungeoneering for turning in wisps. Because again, that's going to be not a lot of XP, but it's like a good chunk of XP every time you turn wisps in Dungeoneering with that on. Then south to collect the Arty Lodestone and turn manure to level 7 for sagewort seeds, because cave potatoes give you 1 XP per harvest, which is not acceptable farming experience. So level 7 will let me train with sagewort while I'm in Dungeoneering doing other things. From there, that's all the Dungeoneering prep. We do 1 to 2 floors of Dungeoneering just to get level 10 smithing, mining, and cooking. And unlock the early complexities. Again, all with magic and range, specifically because the next step is Knight Sword. And I'll either have to make myself a red berry pie, or maybe we can use the group system early and somebody else will have already done it and make a handful of red berry pies to do the Knight Sword. Just to get smithing up to an appropriate level to be able to make tier 30 or 40 melee weapons, because the plan from there would be Waterfall into Vampire Slayer into Fight Arena to get all of the early quests that require relatively low combat and give large gobs of melee experience. That should get attack and strength into the 30s or 40s to be able to use the weapons. I now have the smithing level 4, so I've got an option for outside of Daemonheim. At that point, I'm probably planning on the Necromancy tutorial. I'm going to do all of my Slayer through Necromancy because I can't train it in Dungeoneering. So it'll, again, keeping that combat level total the same, just can't get Necromancy higher than my highest of the other 3 skills. And that should balance out skills. My hope is to get, and this is moving past day 1, it would be the Slayer up to 42 to have access to a Shadow Silk hood. So I don't have to deal with as many monsters if I'm just trying to scale in Daemonheim. And then Dungeoneering to most of my skills are in the 70s, and then start working on defense and a lot of quests and unlocking invention. That is the rough longer term plan.
And then the story from there,
a lot of random low levels.
Then the story from there writes itself.
Yay, low tier bossing forever. Yay.
Yeah, so aside from just being idiots, what's the group storage etiquette?
The only note I have on this is thinking about what I saw from when the old school Group Ironman stuff released and all the content creators were doing large groups for longer periods of time. And a lot of what they did was somebody would be like, yeah, I just want to train wood cutting. I'm going to go cut 10 billion Acadia logs. And then they chucked, they kept half from whatever, and they chucked a bunch in and said, hey, everybody take X amount of Acadia logs. I don't need these. And they would just communicate. The group storage is effectively it's like the countertop in an office, where somebody's this is the counter where you put the food to share, and then the food in the refrigerator is not for sharing, kind of a deal, They kind of treated that the group storage was either a place to store things like their tools that they didn't have a lot of, if they had a dragon pickaxe that, they only had 2 of them. Well, they would put them in there between things so that they could trade them around. And then stuff that was for other people to use, basically.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. And I mean, when we also, of course, have our Discord channel that we set up, maybe some people in the audience will get to see and take part in that. But
I forgot one thing that I'm one of my day 1
yeah,
activities.
what you got?
Rune crafting to 50 for wax. Because
of
everybody needs
course.
the wax, baby.
It's going to be so expensive to buy all the runes to make the wax is the problem. We need a source of money.
So-
We don't get alchemals until we get into bossing, so we need to have like level 80 combat stats.
Gee, it
before
would
we
be
can
nice
start
if
making
somebody
wax.
just wanted to mine pure essence and be the rune crafter for fun.
You need so many thousands of runes. Thousands
Yeah,
of
I'll
runes a
mine.
day.
I planned on
rune
mining
essence-
the essence, but
Don't worry about mining too much essence, because early Slayer things like I think it's the lesser demons and that, just drop them by the tons when I get to abyssal demons. I mean, I had 3.5 million rune essence in my
sweet.
bank just from drops that sort of gathered up. So
It'd
that's,
be interesting.
I mean,
see.
obviously early you'll need to, but once we get sort of Slayer levels up to the mid-level things, which will probably be sort of
The giant
4 or
mole drops
5.
900 at a time.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, yeah, they just
The
they
rail
build
drops
up.
700 at a time.
Hmm.
Like we're gonna need, we're gonna be fine on pure essence.
And
Abyssal
again,
lords drop 300 at a time. Jesus.
Yeah, I'll be going for. I'm just looking forward to getting pet drops again for skilling.
Mm,
Well, see, I'm Master of All. I've had Master of All for like 4 years now, so I haven't had pet drops in ages.
I'm looking forward to achievement hunting again. I am.
Yeah, all that early stuff. You know, it's just. I'm because the game update generally happens about 11 p.m. my time.
Mm.
So I will probably go to bed around 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon, feed the dogs early, go to bed, get up about 10 o'clock, and I'll just go all night.
Yeah, we'll sort out some timing on that so we can get it rolling ASAP on that. But I think that's probably just a good strategy for the group. Storage is, hey, we can, dump stuff in there and then everybody take and, leave what
you don't need that. In main game, you would have thrown on the GE. Check them there and just let us know, hey, these are up for grabs.
Yeah.
Or, hey, I'm planning to use these later. Or
emphasis
somebody
on
wants to process these into planks for me, smile.
And emphasis on communication with the Discord too.
Yes,
that's the biggest thing.
But, also, we wanted to. What was that, Pern?
I was just going to say I want to get to Dagonoth Kings as soon as possible, so I can sort of start.
Dragon hatchets.
Dragon hatchets and things. Yeah.
And I think that might be something fun to do as a group too, because that is one of those like we bring a couple of us because
is that a group boss? Is it?
Solo. Yeah, totally.
Yeah. Well, no, you just go down the safe spot.
You just go down the stairs.
Yeah. I didn't realize I were group.
Oh yeah.
So I used to go. When I started, when my Iron Man, I just went down
hunt them together.
Sat down in the bottom corner and just killed that one, the melee
killed
one.
Rex over and over and over again.
Yep.
We also have put together a list of some other things that are in the short to mid-range list of things that we want, and I don't think we need to necessarily go through the finer details on these, but these obviously include unlocking invention. I know I want to unlock invention fairly early on for it, but it's not necessarily going to be something that I'm thinking about right off the bat.
A level 80. Since we're here, crafting. I had this as a note later on. How do we crafting on an Iron Man? Do we have to kill 1 billion dragons? Do we have to hunt dragons?
I know how to do it.
How?
It's
you get? Okay.
gem mining.
Yeah, okay.
And cutting.
So we're going to have to do a lot of gem mining. Because 80 crafting is, you're getting 3-4 million crafting experience off of gems. That's a lot of gems.
Tannis wanted to mine. I mean, we can help you along the way, but...
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's so fast. The only problem is to get to the good gem stones. You got to have that resource dungeon now.
Dungeoneering. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
that's
we're gonna
the
need
only freaking
problem.
Dungeoneering.
We all hate dungeoneering.
I was thinking about the resource dungeon in Shiloh Village. I didn't even think about the one in El Kharid.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, are we going to have to hunt you a gout tuber? But no. I mean, maybe, but...
Yeah. Remember, Tannis, minimal questing.
Well, so here's the other thing, is because we're a group, we can actually do grouped dungeoneering. So like you can just, especially if you're a lower combat level than me, you come with me into my dungeoneering floors. You spawn lower level monsters for me. I clear out monsters, and then you just get XP and can like mine and do whatever in the dungeon and when we're cleared, we leave. Like, we can carry each other through dungeoneering as long as people aren't over capping the combat levels. So,
well, I can definitely take care of that shit.
So, I mean, I'm going to be in there as much as I can. Also, definitely worth noting, I think you guys already know this, I'm gone for a wedding next weekend. So I'm like, I'll be here for like 2 days and then driving across the country for 6 days. So I'm...
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah. But when I'm around, I will be doing dungeoneering and stuff. So we can get you dungeoneering levels, I think, relatively quickly.
Well, nice. Well, we'll get crafting levels then. We're going to make it happen.
We're going to make it happen. But
There's also the question of weaponry associated with that. Obviously, Tannis has the early melee stuff sorted. Eventually, we'll have the bows and whatnot too when 110 woodcutting and fletching arrives. But the initial stuff too. You planning to index mainly to mining and smithing then, or also to the woodcutting side too?
Well, probably all.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I'll definitely be doing woodcutting too. One thing I have heard that can be somewhat painful as an Ironman is getting that rune hatchet in the beginning, so one of you combat people, give me a rune hatchet and away we can go.
I mean, honestly, Dennis, I'm planning to have 50 smithing well within day one just from dungeoneering, because dungeoneering gives you so much early smithing XP, so I'll just make you one.
Damn.
Right? Because like you only need 50 smithing to make a rune hatchet. Like it's crazy how the game.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Shit.
Until the upgrade comes out, like you're gonna have you will probably have the levels to make you a rune hatchet.
No, I'll be. One. Yeah, never mind. I don't even know what I'm thinking. I'm like,
it's probably wild,
right? Like,
it was 90.
Yeah.
It's like, Dennis, we're not looking Elder Rune. Those hatchets don't exist yet.
Also call out to Herbie Werby every week on Anachronia.
We maybe should think about whether or not it's worth unlocking within the first 2 days for that.
Oh, I plan to.
It's such crappy XP level 1 though. Like, is it worth it before we hit
boost
level 30? I don't know.
You can boost it with some quests initially.
Yeah, that is the question of like the gigantic lamps from Violet is Blue, because those are like 30,000 XP lamps.
I feel like that's Herblore.
Is it though? Oh, because I hate the first levels of Hunter. Getting Hunter up to 27 to have access to 2 traps, being able to only use 1 trap.
It's a lot easier now with Het's Oasis.
Yeah, that's true. That's just true, isn't it? How's the catch rate? Is that a concern?
I was done within an hour and a bit.
Okay.
So I wouldn't worry about Hunter.
Yeah. I mean, the real question is like, what's going to be hard? And you're right, it's probably Herblore.
Yeah. So that could be the Violet question, but obviously longer term on that in terms of things that we're going to angle towards. Prif is on the list, as is Fairy Rings and the Dragon Tools as well.
One of these things is not like the others. Prif is going to take some work. But Fairy Rings early on shouldn't be too bad.
No,
that's what I was talking about with the Apatol. If you get Monkey Madness done and Fairy Rings unlocked, you can get to that agility course really easily.
It's a good farming quest. But
yeah. I did want to ask him about weaponry. What do we do for like mid-level weaponry for like magic? What is there? I guess you can still craft them up to a certain level. Oh, you can craft mystic weapons now, can't you?
Yep.
Oh.
Okay. Is that I guess. Okay. I was thinking chaotics would be there.
That's 80s.
Ooh.
But,
yeah.
Well, to be clear, what are we talking about? What are we talking about mid-range level?
Like, I'm talking about like not endgame, like not boss drop, not augmentable, like before we get into those kind of levels.
So
I was thinking
so like
my brain was
below
like
barrows,
for some reason, but no, yeah, you can. I don't know. Just I mean, I guess melee and range you can make your own. And magic, my brain's like, oh yeah, you just buy a Grafolic wand. You don't buy a Grafolic wand on an Iron Man, Shane.
No.
Like my brain is just doing somersaults there. But
well,
I guess
that's a 60. The Master Wand.
Abyssal stuff.
Master Wand is Mage Training Arena at level 60.
We are not doing Major Training Arena.
No.
That's a no. Maybe
Mystic Wand.
Wait, what about the polypores?
That's what I was thinking is like Grafolic, but
You can craft a level 50
wand.
Mystic Wand at 57 crafting and 50 rune crafting.
Yeah. We'll have fun. That'll be a future show topic where we talk about the problems we're currently having getting magic weapons between level 60 and 80. But
Well, and Mystic is drops, right? Like you can get that as just monster.
yeah. Oh, I mean the cloth drops everywhere, yeah. But
What about the Blisterwoods? Branches.
Oh, Blisterwood, yeah.
Branches
In the questing
of
stuff.
Darkmire, I think. Yep.
That
Yeah,
gives
there's
you a level 70. But
that's
that
like
is
75 wood running, but yeah.
but that is Lord of Vampirium.
Yeah.
So it's a ways down, but that's almost got levels of like proof levels behind it. 75 attack, Constitution.
Well, no,
defense.
not the Sun Spirit. Not the Sun Spirit, just Blisterwood weapons. Because Blisterwood's not as high, but
Yeah, it says Blisterwood requires partial completion of Lord of Vampirium.
Oh, I thought it was only branches of
No, there's
Darkmire.
no way.
there's branches of Darkmire. Yeah, it's the one named after the tree. But anyways,
That's right. Yeah.
Okay, then the wiki is lying to me. Anyways,
It's off.
but you know that illustrates the difference between magic, melee, and necromancy in that regard, and why I think necromancy is just such an easy shoe-in for it. But you know, after I think dungeoneering is done, that probably you can just lean into necromancy with that. Like, what is the max dungeoneering level we need theoretically here?
a lot, because we need a lot of tokens. I mean, if we just do token farms for them, I guess 90 probably. Give or take.
But what's the hard dungeoneering level? Because you could always get your necromancy up and do EDs, right?
You need to be. We need to be able to buy certain things that require a higher level, and I think I want to be able to wear the necklace, the demon horn necklace that I think requires 90.
Oh shit!
And I want 90 for the Ports Adventurer.
Yep.
So I think there's probably a little bit more than that too that I'm forgetting.
What's the stuff you get from RuneSpan? Let me look that up. That's a lot of RuneSpan. I think we were probably better off making runes. Fair enough.
The runic staves.
Yeah.
Lesser, greater runic stave.
The greater one, that's right.
Does anybody have, in addition to these midterm things, long-term goals? I know, Thaxi, you mentioned Quest Cape.
Well, the other thing, Dragon Tools, really quick before we move on. As a group right now, how are we feeling about the Dragon Tools? Because I think, hatchets are easy. We'll need to get the rings anyways. The hatchets will just come. The Maddox...
That's big game
We'll
hunters.
get a few of them. We'll get a few of them, if from Tetra compasses, if not from BGH. At some point, we'll get a couple of Maddox, I guess 4 or 5, whatever. How about those pickaxes, though?
Don't need it no more. I don't give a shit.
Yeah, you
I'll
do.
do Elder. Why? I can just do
Because
Elder
you're going to
Ring.
want an augmented one eventually, and to make Earth and Song, you need
But
crystal.
that's the debate. Do we need an augmented one? Because I don't know about Jill, but I don't want to kill 10,000 Chaos Dwarfs.
Well, maybe we don't need an augmented one prior to 90, but I think as you go beyond 90 mining, you probably would want the augmented one. But then again, we're not talking about immediate problems here, are we?
But hear me out. 10,000 Chaos Dwarfs.
But what about the Chaos Giants?
On drop
drop
rate,
them too,
10,000
don't they?
Chaos Dwarfs.
Yeah. Chaos Giants drop them as well, and they drop a ton of herbs.
We'll do we might get one, but I'm just saying I'm not personally committing to that grind.
Oh no, if I get it, I get it. Yeah.
I'll
I'd
add
rather-
a giant
I'd
I'd rather
Giants
grind
to
the
mine.
mine. Yeah.
to the preferred list, but I'm not. I'm out here looking at these drop rates for these things, and I'm like,
in
that's
all honesty,
not happening.
augmentable tools I don't think are going to be as important as augmentable weapons initially.
Fun fact, if you wanted 2 pickaxes and you were killing only Chaos Giants, you'd need to kill 16,000 Chaos Giants. It's apparently more rare.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I was going to say, I've never gotten one there.
That is
a lot of
It is 1 in 8,192. So that's not ideal.
And based on that, you're at a better chance of getting it from the Triskelion key.
I don't know that you are. That's a 1 in 600 from the Triskelion key. Those a lot of Trisks. But anyways, so we'll see if we end up getting one of those. We may be Dragon Pickaxe-less. I hope people are okay with that.
Well, Tannis is the main miner, so that'll be up to him. But I mean, hey, if you can just go with what you have in game now, up to the level 95 one or
At
whatever,
least,
you're going to be fine for a long time on that.
Exactly.
The issue with the Matic is the augmentable Matic is genuinely 10 tiers above the craftable one, but the craftable pickaxe is the same tier as the augmentable one, so I guess that's fair.
Yeah, and I was wondering with the 110 smithing update, why did we not get extra Matics added to the game like we got extra pickaxes?
Because they didn't extend
archaeology.
Yeah, they didn't extend archaeology.
But doesn't it make sense now that the metal is there? We should be able to make it.
Maybe
okay,
that's
well, if they added archaeology,
quest reward, Shane, quest reward.
But we don't want the hero medic or the I don't know. Archaeology is fine. Don't touch it. It's my baby.
All right. Any long-term goals specifically?
I mean,
and what does our end game look like?
My long-term goals are always 99s.
Okay.
Yeah.
99s,
so you're putting maxing on the list?
I'm putting gathering and artisan first, and then we'll go from there. But
yeah,
I'm always going for 99s.
Okay. Pernasius?
Well, I mean, Quest Cape was the first cape I got on my account, so I'd like to do that as the first main cape. And then this time I'd like to try and get the Slayer cape first.
Untrimmed?
As my untrimmed
edgy.
Slayer. Yeah, I'd like to, whether I do or not. But yes.
Does the Quest Cape trim capes? You still get an untrimmed.
No, it
I'm
does not trim
sure.
capes. Because I had the Quest cape before my farming cape back in the day.
Yeah, because Quest was my first cape, so I'd like to do that again, but I think Slayer was
It's
like
gotten
my
harder.
5th or 6th, so...
It really has. It really has. For me, obviously, 99 farming, of course, will be in the long-term goals, amongst other things. That also angles me towards 90 construction for the high-tiered ranch out of time stuff, which also will help with higher-tiered herb lore. And then after that, that puts me in the position, as I wrote in the notes, to becoming the primary herbalist or dealer, as Tannis would put it. So
You heard it here first.
He's our weed dealer.
But I also, of course, with that, I just want to get into PVM stuff eventually. That's actually my main goal, aside from these skill things, personally here, and obviously whatever else is needed. So
That's probably one thing I will be... Because, I mean, I've never been a group PVMer, but having an Ironman group where you all rely on and work together with each other, it might be interesting to sort of start doing some group Ironman bossing. So it might actually get me into bossing a bit more.
Hell,
I
who knows?
expect to be doing a lot of zero mechanic play sort to give everybody charms, because I believe charms will be group storageable.
they are.
Yes.
Yeah, that's there.
Oh, that's right. Those bosses are... Those bosses, you don't need the quest for those, do you?
No.
It
So-
helps. I'll do them, but you don't need them.
Yeah, but I was just saying, yeah, but eventually. But I mean, like eventually, there's some magic armor, higher tier magic armor that we could sort of farm at Croesus and things like that.
Yeah, we could.
Well, me and
That's
Tannis
a
will,
lot of
because
curses.
Tannis is like me. He likes his tank
Crippling.
armor that gives him life. Yeah,
I
the
do
old
too.
crypt room.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I'm making Crypt first, or I'm making the Death Warden first for my neck when I get there for Necro Armors, for sure.
I also want to go for, obviously, just the PVM quality of life stuff too. This is the longer term goal still. So your Excaliburs, your Ritual Shard, the Zuck Capes, and maybe if I'm feeling the
Ritual
grind,
Shard.
the Blessed Flask eventually.
Is the Blessed Flask going to be traded? Is going to be shared?
Ooh,
Whoa.
I would like it to be. I would be surprised, given how I understand the back end on it works, but I would like it to be.
That'd be pretty
Because that's
cool.
probably where I was planning to train my mining. Was
It's
just
not
on
listed,
sandstone,
but
because
they
we
did
need-
make the constituency components of it tradable.
We're going to need to
Okay.
find good sources for gems for porters. I mean, other than gem rocks, obviously, but yeah.
Dragonstone.
We'll have some fun.
There's
Some
something
fun.
that spits them out, and I can't remember what it is.
There's a
but
couple
there-
bosses that do, yeah.
Yeah. I was talking to somebody. It was like, yeah, don't worry about that. It's
Normal
Oh, man.
Carraback mode Dragonstones.
might have been
Yeah.
you, Shane. It might have been you with saying don't worry about Dragonstones.
I mean,
Yeah.
all the God Wars 3 bosses drop Dragonstones. The diamonds are the problem. But
Diamonds I
Yeah.
can get in that resource dungeon.
oh, true.
And a few of the lower level bosses drop a lot of diamonds too.
Yeah. Well, we'll have fun. We'll have fun theory crafting all this stuff when we get there, I guess.
I
But-
feel like we
yeah.
need like a giant board thing to be able to just put everything where it was. I put a spreadsheet together that you guys
Make
can
a
put
Slack
into
board.
if you
just
want to,
like-
but maybe we need something beyond that. I don't necessarily know. But Thaxi, what
Threads.
about
We'll just
your
do-
long-term goals?
We'll do threads. Just to be different, I'm going to say I think I want Taskmaster. We've got people working on Quest Cape and Mask Cape. I think I want Taskmaster as a, like, maybe like, when I hit this point, I feel like I've hit my goal. Just because that's, like, base 90s, that's Prif, that's a lot of quests. It's a lot of the, like, quality of life rewards I'm going to go for anyways. Like, I'll consider the account relatively, like, I've done a good job with it when I hit Taskmaster. Eventual goal, definitely Quest Cape, definitely at least base 90s, if not all of Taskmaster. And like the Zuck Capes and some of the, like, get to the point where I have a competent setup for stuff. I'm just looking forward to honestly learning Ironman. Like, that's the real takeaway for me, is like figuring out how all this Ironman nonsense works.
Right, and I mean, come Monday, all this could be dead wrong.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure there's going to be something in here. Somebody's already looking at us like, oh, you guys, so you didn't think about this, did you?
Let us know. Let us know
Please.
where we're at, and we're eager to get this journey going. So,
So excited.
anybody have anything else on Group Ironman Theory Crafty business before we move on?
I'm sure I do, but problem from future weeks.
Alrighty then. What have we been up to in RS? Let's start with you, Pern.
Not a whole lot. Still, I was down chasing another piece for the brush to run out my my infinite porters. Didn't get that. Basically, I've been doing a lot of the maze runs.
Oh,
And
and how is that?
Shit. Sorry.
Well,
Sorry.
No,
I mean,
that's
it's
fine.
it is what it is.
I shouldn't be
Carry
like
on.
that, but I mean it's not bad, but I mean, like you'll spawn in and suddenly you're between two skeletons and you can't get a zombie imp to get something to get past them, so you got to get out, or you'll run to a shortcut and as you get there it changes, and I mean it's all right, but it's a bit janky.
They took Puro and just made it complicated
Mhm.
and added a boss for reasons.
And I'm sorry,
Oh
if
my
you're going to
god,
call
that's
it
the best. Yes.
if you're going to call it a maze, the maze should
Where's
be
the
made
corn?
of corn. Exactly.
Where's the corn?
There's corn. There's areas of corn in there.
They have
That
Puro
should all be
already
corn,
for this.
though.
Mhm.
But yeah, I wish the like the shortcuts would just remain there. Like, you know, you'll click on one, you'll run up to it, and as you get to it, they change again. And it's like,
Oh yeah, what's the fun
to
in
run
running
all the way
running
back
a
to
maze
where
that
I
changes,
was?
right?
Yeah, exactly.
If you were still able to go through it after it changed because you were already in the animation, that would be cool. Like if you had clicked it and you could just like guarantee that it was yours and you were safe, that would be cool.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like, I'm okay with clipping through a wall that has appeared. Like I don't mind the clipping. Like let me escape.
Tanis, or if you're done, Pern.
I'm done. Yep.
Yeah, Tanis.
A lot of Halloween archaeology.
Good.
I don't have all the stuff in there, so I'm just.
Yeah, I get what you can.
And it's. I mean, they are quite expensive, so yeah, that's what I'm doing.
Nice. Okay. I think that's good. I spent the bulk of the weekend there, and I decided, yeah, you know, I got everything from this year, and I got pretty much everything else that I could have wanted. So I'm done with the Halloween event. In terms of, you know, just sitting there and getting XP on that. I'll still, you know, turn in my you know, daily candies or what have you. Maybe run the maze a few times each and every week to see if I get lucky. But I've kind of moved on from that onto other things because before Group Ironman arrives, I actually want to finish all my mining that I need in order to get all the ores that I need to complete 110 smithing, because that is actually in reach for that. So I'll just mine all the ores, and then that'll just be sitting waiting to be processed when the next double XP comes around.
Nice.
So
Very nice.
Just running the loop around the Daemonheim Peninsula, gathering all the ores on that. Does anybody else find it, you know, just looking at the metal bank, does anybody else find it a little bit difficult in terms of ascertaining the differences between each ore without mousing over them in the metal bank? Or is that just me?
Oh,
I mean obviously you, Tanis.
I memorized them all when I did way too much dungeoneering back in the day. So I don't actually have an issue with it because I remember what colors go with what and which ones are, like, I remember the order on them.
Yeah,
Okay,
pretty
fair
much
enough.
remember the order, so yeah.
Yeah.
Fair enough. But aside from that, just some Reaper tasks, which coincidentally have both been the Gate of Elidinis, as I mentioned earlier. Nothing drop-wise from there, and then just some PVM at Sanctum and Carapac, which, again, no drops from either of those that really are worth mentioning, aside from a Greater Concentrated Blast Codex. So, yeah, that's been my week. Thaxy?
Well, I did some fire making over the weekend. I still need that pet, so that grind continues. I'm very deep into it at this point. And the funny thing is, like, if you have bonus experience, it's like 1 in 84 million experience, so I'll get it eventually. It's just gonna take a long time. But that's fine. That's going. I finished my grind for all of the Herbie Druid stuffs, all the Sidekick shop upgrades and unlocks.
Good.
Over the weekend.
I know that was difficult for you.
Well, no. I did. I got enough beans to just spend 6 hours straight pouring potions onto piles of herbs, and I made like 70 or 80 mil, just growing herbs, standing at the herb patch in. So I didn't actually do any like regular farm runs. I just stood there and poured potions on herbs for like 6 hours. Made a lot of money. It was good. So I got that done. I got all of the hidey holes filled. So when I do get around to getting Globetrotter, all the armor pieces for trim, I'm ready. And that kind of it. I did otherwise this week. I finished the Osseous drop log about an hour before recording the show. I need one more key to finish that requirement, and then it's literally just I need 8 more necromancy levels to retrim, or recomp, and remaster Quest Cape, and then I need Globetrotter and those capes to get trim back. So the list of things grows shorter, and then it's just fire making and rune span for the last of pets from Master of All, and then I don't know what I'm going to do. but we're making good progress on the goals this week, so I'm pleased. All the stuff that like needed to get done, I'm hoping to get this key before Group Ironman starts. That's the goal. Because I die once every 3 or 4 hours. I have to like vaguely pay attention to pick up drops. Like all of the like I can AFK Necromancy XP, I can AFK, fire making and rune span later. So I can't AFK clues, but that's a problem for future taxi problem. But we're getting set up to where all of the goals are AFKable while Group Ironman happens, and that's super exciting to me. So yeah, nice. Big progress this week.
Right on. Sounds good. And speaking of that, we do have achievements here, and the first one actually on the list is your 120 fire making on the 21st. Congratulations there.
Thanks.
We also have G with 120 magic on the 21st as well. Edict with 99 prayer on the 18th, and LeBron's Gains with 120 divination on the 17th.
Congratulations!
I know Tanis is a fan of that Dabe, but
I thought it was going to be LeBron's Diddy, but anyway.
Oh, no Diddy.
I don't know what that's about, but that's okay.
Don't worry. Yeah, don't worry about it, Shane. You don't want to know what it's about.
Find out when you're older.
Moving on. Pick of the week time. I have a pick of the week that is interesting to myself and Tanis, and maybe the both of you, and maybe some listeners as well. But Star Trek Lower Decks is back this week for Season 5. The final season of the animated series that can be thought of as kind of, I guess, a comedy and the fan service version of Star Trek, if that's something that you might be interested in. So it'll be interesting to see where they go for season 5 as they've decided to end it after 5. But always lots of fun little in-jokes and whatnot. With that there. Airs on Paramount Plus in the US. I don't know where it would be in Australia. Here in Canada, it is on CTV Sci-Fi. Tanis, have you checked out Lower Decks at all?
Oh yeah. No, I like Lower Decks. I think it's great. I love the crossover when they did that. And it has made it, what, as long as Enterprise, or did it outlive Enterprise?
Longer than Enterprise. Enterprise was 4 seasons.
Enterprise. So, hey. No.
What season did you make it up to in watching Lower Decks?
I think I am somewhere in the 3rd season.
Okay.
Early 3rd season.
And the interesting bit about these is that they're not serialized to the same degree as all the other modern stuff was. There's still some generic story threads that run through the entire season, but it's not overly serialized for that. So I posted a link to the Paramount Plus streaming website there for that. But if this sounds something that you might be interested in, or you've looked at any of the other Star Trek stuff, it's definitely worth having a watch. Episodes are short too. They're only about 20 minutes each because they're that animated format. But that's for after the show. Alrighty. Anything else here, folks, before we wrap up and say goodbye?
I don't think so. Excited for next week.
Yes.
We'll be back.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be
I've been getting bored.
You have, hey?
Yeah, this week especially, it's just like I've done pretty much all my AFK stuff other than the brush hunting, which is just driving me nuts. And it's just like I turn on my computer, I'm going I've got everything unlocked at Halloween, but I'm still clicking on it, obviously, just to get the candies now. But it's like, why am I bothering? So next week is just going to bring back that sort of excitement for RuneScape again, I think.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm looking for at this point as well. And I thought, hey, if I want to do a bit of that before Group Ironman drops, is what else numerically wise do I have to chase that's not like a comp requirement or a 120, and it's gathering all the ores for 110 mining and smithing there. So that's gonna be a fun thing to do with that. But we'll be back next week to talk about Group Ironman, and we also, of course, do have a number of other groups tangential to the podcast that we'll be checking in from time to time with. We have Bears Group, Lemon Group, and a couple of others that we can lean in on as well. So we'll be checking in with that, and we do look to have Group Ironman coverage in addition to the update of the week coverage, going probably pretty much through Christmas, week to week, based on how things are going. So you guys can look forward to that and just see how things are going to go with that. Definitely a new foray for me, I will say, with that. But if you want to see that when it all arrives, you can subscribe. We're on all the podcast listening services out there. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Pocket Casts, and of course YouTube as well. YouTube.com/RSBANB. Give us a like there. Greatly helps the channel out. Subscribe too. But we'll see you guys next week for another episode of RSBANB Update. See you then, everyone. Take care.
Sorry, just before everyone goes, I just got my Dark Onyx core.
No,
that is worth interrupting the show for.
Holy
978 events, and I got a Dark Onyx core. Sorry, it was just there, and it just. I'm going, hang on, what's that?
Are you selling it or are you keeping it?
Keeping it, but yeah.
Sir. Congratulations.
Just got the unlock. So anyway, yep.
Exciting note.
Yeah.
Happy escaping to the rest of ya.